All right, we had a story yesterday afternoon. You may have heard this, pretty big deal. Our Minister of, as I said, Economy, Innovation and Energy, Pierre Fitzgibbon, presented the results of a study that examined the discrepancies in the price of gas across Quebec and then announced after that he intends to put what is called an end to the floor or minimum prices that retailers are forced to charge, which sounded like good news. But then it got interesting when after that announcement, Minister Fitzgibbon was asked why he wouldn't just simply cut the fuel tax, because that obviously is put on top of the price of gas. To which he replied, lowering fuel taxes, I think they should be raised. Minister Pierre Fitzgibbon is on the line right now. Minister, thank you for your time this afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Do you see a conundrum in there somewhere with the fact that we're trying to make things better for motorists, yet at the same time you're trying to make things less better, if you will?
No, I think they're totally different. I mean, I think what we've done on the report we received from our expert is we're trying to see if removing the floor price will have the benefit of perhaps having some of the offer being reduced and price being reduced. Clearly, Quebecers are concerned about gas pricing, so I'm not 100% sure it will have the beneficial effect that it's supposed to have, but we're going to try. And also the second measure we announced is that the more transparencies, so that will allow people to at least, if they're not, of course they can use gas, but other concerns like that, but I think there will be a more formal opening of data so people can pick where they want to go. And also perhaps it will allow people to see more the pricing dynamic, which is what the problem we're trying to address right now. So those two measures, we hope will do something, but we're not sure because it's a very complex matter.
But at the end of the day, when someone says, let's be honest, the government is also trying to get people to go to EVs by 2035, no more new cars with, gas engines will be sold. That's what the government wants to push people to, right?
Well, that's right. That's a different thing about the gas taxes. What I was asked, I said, someone asked me, would you lower pricing, lower taxes on gas? And my response was, no, we shouldn't. If something, we should increase it. But right now, the government will not. And I came back with the tweet saying the government does not intend to increase taxes. It's against the government's mandate. We made very clear that we did the opposite. We reduced taxes. But if you look at the environmental issue, you look at what's going to happen forward, at one point in time, there won't be much consumption of gas. So how will that happen? Well, there's many initiatives that need to take place, such as having cars lower price to buy a car electric than the fossil, having a recharging station being more available, having batteries with larger autonomy. So there'll be multiple events, but it will happen, whether we like it or not.
I want you to hear a clip. So Dan McTeague was on CJD earlier today. He's president of the Canadians for Affordable Energy. He's aiming at helping Canadians, they say, cope with affordable energy costs. He's also widely known as the gas guru. He's been doing this for like 20 years. He was asked about the announcement yesterday. Here's what he said.
If you want to be promoting, higher prices, which is what the Quebec government and Canadian governments want. They want you out of your vehicles. They want you to drive your EVs. But let's be honest about what we're trying to achieve here. Both federal and provincial governments are committed to driving up the cost of energy because they don't think that there's a future in gasoline and diesel.
What's your reaction to that?
Well, I'm not sure we want to increase the cost of energy, but clearly, if we want to be coherent and to decarbonize the economy, for sure, we need to consume less gas, oil and gas. So unless you make blue hydrogen and some sort, but at the end of the day, we want to be coherent. We want to get at one point to be net zero in 2050. Well, for that to happen, there'll be multiple behavior changes. And as far as vehicles are concerned, whether they're going to be propane, renewable gas, electricity, hydrogen, there'll be multiple choices. But I think we're going there for sure. The question is the pace at which we're going to get there. And clearly, we want to make sure that the consumer at the same time are not penalized. That's why there won't be gas increase on taxes, but there shouldn't be decrease either. We will go against any logic to decarbonize the economy.
Well, some people would say if you want to go to that part where we're getting to 2050, decarbonizing the economy, as you say, why don't we raise prices? That'll force people to stop driving gas cars and consider getting electric cars.
Well, in theory, that was my reflex. At the same time, in the meantime, right now we have high inflation. People have difficult times. Consumers with the cost of living and so forth. So we have to be careful too. There's a balance there, and I think we clearly wanted at our government not to increase taxes. Actually, we did the reverse. So we need to be sensitive to the timing of such implementation. So right now, there'll be no gas increase, but eventually the carbon tax will come into effect, and they're already in effect. Eventually, as I said earlier, lower EV cars pricing versus traditional car, recharging station, battery with 500, 600 kilometer autonomy, people will naturally move towards electric cars.
So based on what you did yesterday and announced yesterday with, abolishing that floor, as we call it, is the thinking here, and maybe this is an obvious question, that retailers now will become more competitive by virtue of this, and that's a good thing for consumers?
Well, that was a recommendation. I was debating that because clearly this law or this rule, I guess, was put in place for one reason, right? People wanted, back in, I think it's 97, people wanted to avoid some large gas company to acquire the independent and get them out of business. Henceforth, predatory pricing, get people out of business, then with your monopole or your duopoly, and then you increase pricing. That was why it was put. But that didn't work because consolidation took place anyway.
Right.
So I'm saying let's remove it. Let's see what's going to be the behavior. Who knows? Maybe Costco will sell their price lower than the floor price, in which case Quebecers will be happy. If we're wrong, and it's we see predatory kind of a behavior, we'll put it back. So I think it's a test we're doing. Same thing with the transparency. It's very difficult to control that unless we fix the price, because that could have been a possibility. That could have, every Monday morning, the Ministry of Energy could say, okay, here's the maximum price for gas. That's not the government's role.
I will ask you one thing, because I would be remiss if I didn't. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of speculation about you specifically yesterday after reaction to your announcement, and over the past little while as well, as to your future as a minister with this government. Are you going to stay here through your term or not?
Well, I answer that. I don't know. I mean, nobody knows what they're going to do in the 2 years. I am committed to deliver to the Prime Minister what I came for in politics. I've got numerous projects to complete, for not the least of which is the energy bill that I'm going to put in play likely in a couple of weeks. It's going to be a big debate on that during the summer, during the fall. I want to sanction that new bill. I don't know when it's going to happen, and I want to lead that effort. And also, I'm not completely done on the EV file. We've got $16 billion investment. It's the first time ever in Quebec. I want to continue that. I've got different things to do, and I'll see after. And to be honest with you, I haven't asked that question.
So you have things to get done first before you consider whether you'll have a future there or not.
And also, just to remind some people that I'm the second longest Minister of Economy in the history of Quebec. The longest one was Monsieur Beaulieu in 1944. He stayed for 16 years. Now what happened with me? Since 1960, there's been no other Minister of Economy that has served as long as I did. So I don't feel good about. I don't feel bad about my tenure. But as I said, there's other thing to do. And I came to politics with a mission, and I'd like to conclude some of my missions that are not yet completed.
Minister, I thank you for your time. Always appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Pierre Fitzgibbon, Quebec's Minister of Economy, Innovation and Energy.